So what's the deal? People with ADHD, it almost like hand in hand, seem to have oppositional defiant disorder. They don't like people telling them what to do. They don't like, I mean, nobody likes that, but they feel defiantly oppositional when someone tells them what to do or how to do it. I don't know why this happens, but I've seen it a lot of times, and I've got some ideas. I think it might go back to them growing up. They're in an environment from, some of their earliest days in school where people tell them to do things in a certain way. They give them certain tasks to do. And a lot of these tasks early on for a person with ADHD, what I call an inventive mind in my book, these tasks are like almost impossible. Like sit here, hold still, don't explore anything, don't don't learn anything. Just sit here for hours and hours and hours. And, and then for a person with ADHD, especially if they have the hyperactive type, that's almost impossible. And then they're constantly getting in trouble and being labeled as like a bad kid for doing what they do in order to learn, which is to get up and explore their environment and interact in a very interpersonal way with their environment. And they get in trouble for that over and over and over again. And I could really imagine that a person living their life like that for a long time would eventually start to feel like kind of frustrated, oppositional, or defiant. Like, no, I need to do what I'm going to do so I can learn and I can pay attention because doing it the way you want me to do it is not only impossible, but it's torture. It's kind of like if somebody told you to go out and, all right, see that car over there? I want you to pick up that car every day. And, the kid with ADHD goes out and they try and they try and they try to pick up the car and they can't pick up the car. It's impossible. And then they come back and like, sorry, I couldn't pick up the car. And they go, why weren't you picking up the car? What's wrong with you? Why can't you pick that car up? What the heck is your problem? And after a while, the kid with ADHD is going to be like, you know what? Well, forget you. You're a jerk. And you have unreasonable expectations of me. And so the only way I'm going to learn anything is by being oppositional and defiant to you. I wonder if that might be the case in a lot of kids with ADHD. Now, I was really lucky growing up because my dad has ADHD. And I think my mom has ADD. That sounds lucky, but the reason why I said it's lucky is because they didn't expect me to, how do I word this? They still believed that I could do great things and be a great person, even though my report card was terrible when I was really trying. Now, that kind of like faith in me kind of helped me not feel so oppositional or defiant to authority figures because they, I don't know, they had the same thing I had. I kind of understood them. I didn't know they had ADHD or my mom had ADD, and I didn't know that I had ADHD growing up, but it just seemed like for them, school is a good thing, you do your best, but just understand it's not the whole world. Now, back then, if there had been some resources available, for example, the book that I wrote, if it had been available to my parents, I would really, wish that other parents could read it and kind of understand how to teach people with ADHD. I feel like I could have done a lot better in school, and also still, had people, I guess, people have an understanding of what I was going through. So I think that's a good resource. Anyway, point is when it comes down to the oppositional defiant disorder and ADHD, it makes it really hard to have a boss. It makes it really hard to have people tell you what to do, and you got to find a way around that. And if you've got ADHD and you're reading this, try as hard as you can to resist the defiant part of it. It makes it hard to have bosses. I've had a couple of bosses, and I do not like people telling me what to do. But as best you can, you try to you just understand that sometimes going through those hoops, something that you got to do, and someday you'll be able to call your own shots. It is interesting though to note that people with ADHD, I think it's like 300% more likely, which is like another way of saying 3 times more likely to start their own businesses. kind of interesting. Maybe because they don't like having someone telling them what to do. I don't know. Anyway, hope this was informative or at least interesting for you. Goodbye.